Hello and welcome to Col U TV. It's the pre-match show. My name is Harry Totham and we're here at the Job Search Community Stadium on a very rainy Saturday after a very rainy week, but keen to crack on with today's game. And it's the final game of 4 home matches on the spin here at the Job Search Community Stadium. And there's no denying that just 2 points from the previous 3 is somewhat disappointing. And today's opponent's Port Vale. It's going to be a tricky task. They are very much in the hunt for promotion. They just sit a few points outside the playoff places. However, they've drawn 4 of their last 5 games. So why not attack? We proved on Tuesday we can score goals when the boys get behind, when the fans get behind the boys. We know we can be right up there, mixing with the best. Tough task today, as we've said. We need the fans. And it's going to be a busy show today. We're going to hear from Wayne Brown very soon indeed, as well as the goal of the month for February. And we've got a very special guest joining us in the studio too. But first, those thoughts from head coach Wayne Brown, who spoke to Victoria Polly from BBC Essex this week.
You say it is a results-based business. That is the be-all and end-all when it comes to that table at the end of the season. How do you turn those positives from those performances into results, particularly when you've got a tough run and someone like Port Vale coming to the community stadium on Saturday?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game, but as was Tuesday, as was last Saturday. I don't think at the moment we can look at the table and think, oh, well, they're doing well, it's going to be a tough game. They're all tough games, especially at home. But again, we can't ponder, what would you like us to do? Would you like us not to sort of build on the positives and just sort of paper over the cracks? You know, there are cracks there, hence why we've not put points on the board. But, you know, at the end of the day, I'd be in a far worse frame of mind if we weren't playing well. And law of averages over a season, if you're playing well, you pick results up, you get wins. And I'm sure that will be the case. If we keep continuing to play well, we keep building on performances, we keep getting into good areas to score goals, we're going to score more goals. You know, it's again law of averages that tells you that. And they're the sort of things that we need to keep drumming into the lads, keep showing them on the video, keep working on it on the training ground, in our preparation. And that's the only way that we're going to keep the lads in the right frame of mind going into football matches.
And in terms of the team, you changed things again on Tuesday. Do you look at that performance and as we said about the second half and think, you know, they did enough to go with the same again on Saturday? Do you feel like you know your strongest side now? Or again, will it depend on the opposition and how you might change things around?
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's still, 48 hours before the game of football, so a lot can happen in that time. The lads, again, as I've just alluded to, are performing well, but we have got competition for places, and the squad will be used and we'll pick a team to try and win a game of football, as we did Tuesday, as we did last Saturday, and this Saturday is going to be no different. So as I said, you know, the lads are performing well, there's competition for places, and that's the only way you can, you know, get that level of performance as it has been of a standard when you have got that competition for places.
So that was head coach Wayne Brown giving his thoughts on the build-up to today's game. You can see he's been joined by a very special guest. Col Skuse joins us in the studio. Col, thank you for joining us. We're delighted to have you. However, sadly, it means you're not playing today. You picked up a nasty head injury on Tuesday against Leyton Orient. Yep. How are you feeling?
I feel okay now. I feel a lot better now. Obviously, I've gone through the worst of feeling groggy and not great. It was obviously a hefty hit, sort of just above my eyebrow to the temple, which sort of knocked me for 6 a little bit. But I feel a lot better now. Thank you.
Good. And Leyton Orient, there must be something about playing against them, because in the away fixture you had to go off with another head injury there. Are they linked, or is it?
I don't know if it's something they set out in their team talk. Like you need to. But no, the away one was not great. I had a bad clash of heads, which resulted in 12 stitches just in the centre of my head. This one sort of opened my eyebrow, but it's more. I suffer from a bit of concussion from this one, so that's why I'm sat with you today and not on the pitch.
Well, as I say, we're glad to have you, but we'd rather have you on the pitch. You did get to wear a groovy piece of headgear, though, for a few games, didn't you, after the Leyton Orient game? Does that impact your game? Because I would think, especially centre mid, you're winning a lot of headers. Yep. Do you notice it when you play?
I thought I would more than I did.
Yeah.
In fairness to Vicky, the physio's done a great job in terms of it wasn't over the top. It was quite it wasn't overly padded, so it wasn't catching my eye at all. And in terms of heading, it's something once you cross the white line, it's something you don't really think about. You're in the heat of the moment. You have to do it. So, but it wasn't too bad. It was okay.
Good. Well, we're glad that you're feeling better, and hopefully you'll be back on the pitch at Scunthorpe next week.
Thank you.
It's been a tough few weeks for the team. Leighton Orient again, dropping points late on. How frustrating is that for the boys? We came from behind, right in front of the south stand.
Yep.
Take that 2-1 lead and to concede late. What did the boys say about that after the game?
Of course, it's hugely deflating, and in the position we're at the minute, you go 2 up in a game, and you, like you said, right at the death, you can see the last minute equaliser. It's a real kick in the teeth. It's really not nice. And in the heat of the moment, straight after the game, there's obviously words said. There's things said after the game, and it's no consolation. But when you break it down, we're playing well. There's loads of positives to take, but ultimately we need points. Yeah. So we have to eradicate the mistakes we're making, and the only way we can do that is sort of work harder on a training ground. Mm-hmm. When it comes to game situations, you've got to be sort of taking chances and defending for our lives.
Exactly. And you've come down from Ipswich. You know a lot of the squad. A few have come from Ipswich. Is that an advantage for you joining a new team with lots of players you know, the likes of Chambers, Tommy Smith, I'm sure you're familiar with. You know, and then carrying that into the Colchester United squad.
Yeah.
Did that make you want to sign a bit more coming to the U's, knowing that you know there'd be familiar faces?
Yeah, obviously I'm really, and all the lads that have come across are really close. We're a close group of friends. Yeah. It obviously makes the transition a lot easier. Mm-hmm. And we also thought it would replicate on the pitch, and sadly it hasn't for whatever reason. We really thought we'd have a successful season, but for whatever reason we find ourselves in the position we're in. We're going to have to, on the flip side of that, us being so tight, being sort of in the scrap that we're in together, I think will play a part and be an advantage for us. And
when we look at the squad and the likes of Alan Judge that we've got, who is such a classy player, and yourself as well, Freddie Sears bangs goals in. On paper, we shouldn't be anywhere near the bottom. I know you say we're trying to find the reason, but what at the moment do we put that down to?
We, not just inside of football, people I speak to outside of football as well, I say exactly the same, but we can't rack our head to how we're in the position we're in. But ultimately we are. We need to really dig deep and get some points on the board, starting with today's game, which is going to be a tough game. But if I could point my finger or put my finger on one thing, I wouldn't be sat here today. I'd be in a theatre or a magic show, I'm sure. So it's hard to put your finger on one thing, but like I said, we have to show real character now, like the senior boys especially, that have maybe been in situations like this before. You need to sort of really rally the troops and, like I said, pick up some points.
And with that, when we were 1-0 down against Leighton Orient, we bring it back to 2-1. Does that, even though we didn't come away with all 3 points, the boys in the dressing room still have a lot of confidence? Obviously, it must knock your confidence slightly. Yeah. But then they're not running on empty in there, are they?
No, not at all. Because, like you said, to go 1-0 down against a team sort of in around us, so to speak, to come and turn that around to 2-1, get ourselves right back in the game, get ourselves in front, shows a lot of character. Because there have been, I'm sure there's a lot of players up and down the country playing in front of their own crowd that will sort of shrink and hide away from it. But we really don't. We really sort of dig in and dig deep. But like I said, to concede a last minute goal was a real kick to the teeth.
It's great to have someone like you with your experience here, and a lot of the guys that we've had on the show, Noah Chilvers or Will Edwards spoke to us a couple of weeks ago, say having you in the middle of the park makes such a difference. You've had such a good career, over 550 appearances. I wonder if you could put your finger on a career highlight for us today. Obviously, your career highlight is still to come when you take us up to League One, but so far.
Yeah, so far. I'd have to say my home debut for my boyhood team, Bristol City, was a real highlight, because it wasn't just for me. It was, might be an old cliche, but all my family are Bristol City fans. We're all Bristol people. So that's about to be a real highlight. I'd also say promotion with them as well. Yeah. To be a Bristol boy, get promoted with your, like I said, with your hometown club is I'd say that's a real special moment.
And yet to find the back of the net for the U's, hit the post against Salford a few weeks ago, I believe. It's coming. I always have you down as first scorer. I'm adamant you're going to score a screamer at some point. Do you feel like it's only a matter of time? I know you're not in the game to score, but are you thinking I'm going to get one before the season's out?
I hope so, because I've got 3 kids. My 2 eldest, 10-year-old and 6, long story short, 10-year-old and 6-year-old have both seen Dad score a goal.
Oh, I see.
My little 3-year-old girl, my wife's always, every time I leave the house on a Saturday, she's saying, look, you need to score because Mia's not seen you score a goal yet. I feel like I'm getting closer. Like you said, I don't get forward that often. I like to be slightly disciplined in the way I play, and I'm asked to do a certain job, but especially under the current manager, he's saying, look, you need to go and get forward, express yourself a bit more. And I'm hoping before the season's out, I get a goal, and hopefully it's a crucial.
Yes, let's hope so. A screamer, I don't mind if it's a tap in.
I'll take a tap in.
I really don't mind. And one other thing I got to notice, today in the modern game, football's changed so much. You play centre midfield, black boots every game. Love that. Is that something you've always done? And why is that when I'm sure there's plenty of offers to wear the brightest coloured boots, black boots all the time, classic?
Yeah, I've always worn black boots ever since I was a dot. I've always had the plainer the better.
Yeah.
My dad always used to say to me when I was little, like, you need to be a good player to wear coloured boots.
Yeah.
By him buying me black boots clearly stated that I wasn't a good player. So, but I've always worn them. Like, don't get me wrong, my little girl and my boy play football now. They've got the brightest boots that you can buy, but me, it's not. No, it's not for me.
They've all got the cut-off socks as well. And again, I'm not sure.
Again, not for me. No, I always wear proper full socks. Yeah.
Good work. We like it. Bring in some experience. See those black boots score 30 yards, maybe 4. I don't mind at all.
No problem.
Thank you for joining us.
Anytime.
Let's see you back on the pitch. Let's come talk next week.
Thank you very much.
Great to have you in the studio.
Thank you.
Col Skuse, thank you so much once again. Time now is talking of screamers. We're going to have a look at the winner of the February Goal of the Month. So, not sure anyone can really be surprised with the winner of that one. Alan Judge, on the volley, on the turn, over the keeper, in front of the south stand. Doesn't get much better than that, really, does it, as a Hughes fan? But did that get your vote? You tell us, what did you think? Who would you like to see us get on the score sheet? We've just spoken to Cole, who we'd all love to see get on the score sheet. Really good players to have in the middle of the park. But let us know your thoughts on the user and how we're getting on at the moment. How did you feel? How disheartening was it when we lost those 2 points on Tuesday night's Leyton Orient? Let us know. Email us, media@colchesterunited.net. Even if you just fancy a shout out, that's absolutely fine too. Now though, Tuesday the 8th of March is International Women's Day, which rightfully celebrates women all over the world. And this week we spoke to one of the many women who play a crucial role here at Colchester United. Now, Neve Gamble is the Community Development Officer of our Football in the Community programme, and we spoke to her in the studio yesterday.
So I first started playing just literally at primary school at lunchtimes. The girls would all sit on the field making daisy chains and I didn't fancy it, so I'd kick a ball about with the lads and then eventually just joined a local girls team. There was a few of us at that sort of time who I was about 7 or 8 years old and I was playing with girls who were maybe 14, 15, just because that was the only group of girls you could play with. But I think I'm lucky in the sense that ever since I've played football, coming through the ranks, whether I was playing for my local team, Little Miners, or if I was playing for Essex at the time, I was always surrounded by very strong and powerful women in sport. My coaches back in the day, such as like Emma Burden, who is a big leading sort of light in my footballing journey with Essex FA, just really strong women in sport who sort of just strive you towards success and always wanting you to reach that next level. Without people like them, I would never have got into coaching. They would have never sort of edged me into that coaching sort of realm, and I probably would have stopped playing sport eventually. But yeah, it's powerful women like that who sort of inspire you, keep you in the game. And to young girls who are sort of maybe on the edge of either leaving sport or thinking maybe I should get involved with it, absolutely get involved. I think it's our game as much as it is a man's game. I think it's like I said earlier, it's a sport for all, and the opportunities within it, as long as you give yourself 100%, the opportunities are endless. Never did I think that I'd be working for a club like Colchester United after being involved in football for so long. So yeah, just take every opportunity and surround yourself with really strong and inspiring people. Coaches like Emma Hayes, Casey Stoney, they're huge coaches in the women's game. Emma Hayes in particular has done so much for the game as a whole. I think she's well respected by fans of the men's game, fans of the women's game and fans of game in general. She's a genius, if anything. Like, I just love to see her brain and how it works. I think she's incredible. And then just from a sort of playing perspective, I've mentioned it before, but players who play in my position, such as like Alex Greenwood, Leah Williamson, they are sort of the next generation or the current generation of Lionesses who are leading the way for young girls, and even the girls at our development centre will know the sort of household names like Leah Williamson, Alex Greenwood. So it's incredibly important. It gives the girls a platform to sort of take their football to the next level. Bridges the gap between grassroots and academy level, which often girls find very hard to access. There's very little opportunities, especially within Essex. I don't think there's many opportunities for girls to receive sort of this high level of coaching and following a syllabus. It takes sort of focuses on the enjoyment of football and hones in on their sort of skills to take them to that next level, which is really, really important. So we run our Wildcats programme, which is with the FA, so they give us loads of funding for it, and it's a programme they run up and down the country. It's for girls of all abilities, so it's all about enjoyment, getting girls involved in football, and nothing too serious, just getting them involved and getting them started at a young age, and they're allowed to play all the way through. From a young age, boys are just naturally forced into football. Even if they don't like the game, they are told by their parents to get into a club, they play football at lunchtimes, whereas girls are sort of shied away from that, and it starts at such a young age. How are we sort of taking young children and sort of forcing these gender roles onto them when it's a game for all? It should be a game welcome to anybody of any gender, any sort of age, any background. It's a game for all. And I think even sort of as you get older, the double standards that still exist in football, whether it's in a leadership role, so such as being a coach, I think, you know, if a man is a great leader, he's often seen as just that. If a woman is that, it's sometimes sort of her perspective, other people's perspective on her is maybe she's bossy, something like that. And I think that goes through all levels of sport. So whether, you know, you're a coach, whether you're a player, there's always double standards and sort of stereotypes that do exist, and it can put girls off. I know that at times it can really get you down, and those sort of things are gonna steer women and females away from the game, which makes it even more important so to have these women's football weekends and really celebrate International Women's Day to sort of inspire and bring back power to women in sport. I think it's so important to highlight these sort of events and to recognise that the female fans of the game, they're so important, and it's so great for the club to recognise our female development centre and have the girls here tomorrow and to celebrate the girls development centre. They work so hard week in, week out, and it's what they deserve, the recognition, the appreciation, sort of getting them here, allowing them to come on the pitch and see what the club has to offer. And I think it's only going to spur the girls on to one day hopefully want to play for our women's team when we eventually get it. And in terms of like the whole grand scheme of Women's Football Weekend, it is so important. There's still so much negativity forced towards female fans in the game, which is so important, of things such as Her Game Too, campaigns like that, who sort of fight against sexism and things like that that still exist in sport today and don't deserve a place in sport. So yeah, Women's Football Weekend and things like this are so vital in order to sort of get more fans involved in the game.
That was Niamh Gamble, who's the Community Development Officer. Football in the community, inspiring young girls and women alike to get involved in football on International Women's Day, which is this Tuesday, the 8th of March. Thank you, Niamh. Back to today, though, and we have some team news for you, the one you're waiting for. Let's have a look on our lovely new graphic that comes up. Here it is. Wow. So, in goal, Shamal George. There are 3 changes today, by the way, in goal. 29, Shamal George starting between the sticks. We have Luke Chambers and Tom Dallison, centre-back. Cameron Cox, right-back. One of the goal scorers from Tuesday, Miles Kenlock, left-back. Centre of the park, in Col Skuse's absence, we have Brendan Wiradu and Amir Hughes. Noah Chilvers, the wizard, just in front of that. Luke Hannon out on the right, hoping to find a goal today, with Tyreek Wright comes in on the left. And Freddie Sears is up top for the U's today. Awura Edwards sadly misses out today. We think a slight injury. Hopefully he'll be back by next weekend. And on the bench, subkeeper Sam Hornby, Tommy Smith, Corey Andrews returns to matchday squad, Tom Eastman, Junior Chamadou, John Akinde and Marley Miranda make up the subs. So that is your team lineup today as the U's take on Port Vale. And it's that time again. Head on out. This is the time cheer on the boys. We need those 3 points more than ever. Let's bring them home. It's only a matter of time before things start clicking. Let's make it today. Cheer them on. Keep the faith. We are better together. Remember that always. Up the U's. Goodbye. We'll see you soon.